Good morning and welcome to another episode of Max Living Radio. My name is Dr. Jake Tucker and I'm coming to you live from Good Life Family Studios here on the south side of town at Good Life Family Chiropractic, Best of Lincoln here in 2017. And we are very excited this morning. If you are listening on the radio, then you are hearing me while I am actually speaking at our Super Immunity Seminar, and that's at Christ Lincoln at the corner of 44th and Sumner. If you are doing nothing pregame today, you absolutely need to be there. We are doing the Super Immunity Seminar starting at 9 o'clock, so you'll walk in a little late, but trust me, this is information you don't want to miss. But also, right after that, there is a tailgate for pregame for the Michigan-Nebraska game, and so you'll absolutely want to be there all morning, all day for all the festivities at Christ Lincoln this Saturday. So what I want to talk to you today is about cancer killing, because each of our bodies is designed to beat cancer. Last week we talked about how cancer is a preventable disease that requires major lifestyle change, and I want to talk to you about the original cancer killer, Dr. Charles Majors. And Dr. Charles Majors is one of my mentors. He is an amazing chiropractor. Really, he wrote the book on how to build a successful practice and has been doing it for nearly 20 years in Chicago and opened multiple offices across Chicago, and really just a successful lifestyle, teaching people how to be healthier than they've ever been. And he taught people and got people out of sicknesses that they never thought that they had the capacity to. And out of this place of integrity and congruency, he still got a cancer diagnosis. And earlier, around 2011, he was diagnosed with stage 4 multiple myeloma. It was metastasized to his brain. And this caught him by complete surprise. It was really a surprise at all that he was having any health issues whatsoever, because this is a guy that exercised every day. He ate crazy healthy foods all the time. He practiced mental peace, mental calm, all these activities that we describe in the United States as something that'll help to build health, that helps in prevention. And on top of that, he was getting adjusted. Just like he was adjusting his patients 3 to 5 days a week, he was getting adjusted at least once a week. But he still got it. And this is a problem that many Americans end up facing. Over almost half of us will end up with a cancer diagnosis in our lifetimes. And it's not a good survival rate. In fact, if you survive cancer for 5 years and die the next day of cancer, we consider you to have beaten cancer. So it's really abysmal how that's happening. And so when he got the diagnosis and when they found out it was cancer, he made up his mind that it wasn't going to beat him, that he was going to conquer this. But unfortunately, he did not account for all the things in his life that create cancer. And so that's partially what the Super Immunity Seminar is about this morning. I absolutely want each and every one of you that can physically be here in Lincoln, Nebraska at Christ Lincoln Church to turn your cars, to get up off of your couch, to get out of your kitchen this morning and actually go to this seminar so that I can teach you everything. But the things that he didn't realize that he wasn't doing were the things that led to him getting cancer in the first place. And so just real quick, some of those things, the biggest thing that he didn't realize is what cancer was. And as Americans, we don't understand what cancer is. We think that we're healthy because we feel good. And so the first key and the thing that helped him to be able to overcome cancer was to actually go figure out what cancer was and where it came from. And so he spent the next several years diving into the research and figuring out exactly where cancer came from, what it was doing, and how it was affecting his body. And so he started pouring in and learning about how cancer is not actually a disease process so much as is a protective mechanism and protective reaction against things like acidity in the body, things like autoimmune type reaction. It's a response against that. It's a protection against that. It's a response against inflammation. It's a response against sugar, because when you take healthy cells, they cannot survive in an environment that we're creating by doing the things that we do on a daily basis. And so he started getting to it at the cause. And one of the first things that he started with was his nervous system. And the reason why he started with his nervous system is because even though he'd been getting adjusted, he had completely lost the cervical curve in his neck. In fact, the curve in his neck was completely gone. And what this does, we know from the research that when you lose a curve in your neck, that it creates a pathological tension on the spinal cord. And that pathological tension, it actually decreases the amount of function, the amount of signal being sent from your brain down out to your body, which is governing health. And so he focused in and he went down to the best of the best in structural correction to get his cervical curve back. And then he started plugging into all these other therapies. He started to remove all sugars from his diet. He actually got on the ketogenic diet, which is an extremely intense version of the advanced plan that we prescribe here in our office for patients that have autoimmune conditions, that for patients that are dealing with inflammation in their bodies. He started changing up the way he was working out because he was doing bodybuilding. And while bodybuilding isn't bad for you, it isn't doing what he needed to do in order to actively fight against cancer. And when you're not actively fighting against cancer, then your body starts to actively build cancer, because you may or may not realize this, but each of us has cancer cells inside of our bodies. But our body is designed to destroy those cancer cells. There are things called natural killer cells and T helper cells that come together and they fight and destroy cancer cells on a daily basis. Our body is killing cancer. We are designed to be cancer killers. But when we go away from God's design, God's plan for health and healing, then our bodies start to build cancer. And so if you need to get to this seminar, and I believe that every single person here in Lincoln needs to be at this seminar, because every single person is fighting cancer right now, I want you to be able to build your immune system. And so where we are at right now, right this instant, is we are at the corner of 43rd and Sumner at Christ Lincoln Church in the fellowship hall in the basement. If you come in the main entrance to the main sanctuary and you take an immediate left before you even get to the sanctuary, and you go down the stairs and hang a right into the fellowship hall, that's where I'm at right at this instant, this Saturday morning. So we'll be there until about 11:30, right for kickoff. And there is actually going to be the game displayed up in the room 211 gymnasium on the big screen. So you'll get the opportunity to watch the game without missing an instant, without missing the kickoff, whoever gets the ball first, the coin flip, all those things. And so I want each of you to be there. I'm selling tickets for $50 a piece. If you show up this morning, though, just walk right in. We'll have a seat for you. I want you to be able to get everything you need to out of this seminar. But here's the other thing that I need you to get out of this. What Dr. Major started with is exactly what I want you to start with. So you need to start with understanding what cancer is first. You need to start with what health is first, how health is governed, and then go at it from all the causes. Cancer is a multifactorial, lifestyle, preventable, and in most cases reversible problem that if you just dive in, if you just get to the cause of the problem, you can conquer it. And so it starts with that mindset of understanding. And so absolutely, that seminar is exactly what I want for you. And we will be streaming that on Facebook Live, facebook.com/AskDrJake. We'll have that. But if you can at all physically be there, there's going to be so much happening in that room that is going to add to the experience that I would absolutely not want you to miss it if you are physically here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Otherwise, definitely tune in. But if you have never had your spine checked, if you do not know if you have a 45-degree cervical curve, that is the most dangerous thing I can think of. Because if you have that, chances are you do not feel any symptoms of this. You may have neck pain. You may have an occasional headache. You may have high blood pressure. These are just small signs and symptoms that there's tension on the spinal cord, tension on the nerve roots that are keeping your body from healing and functioning the way that God designed it to. But you don't know unless you've had an x-ray. You don't know unless you've had a 4-point neurological check how much tension there is on your spine. And so what we do is a 4-point neurological test to actually determine what's causing the malfunction in your body. Because cancer is not a normal function. It is a malfunction of abnormally functioning health. And so in order to figure this out, we need to look at your posture. We need to check your range of motion to see if there's any restriction. And we need to do a digital nerve scan to see how well those nerves are healing and functioning, to see if they're in the normal range or if they're in the abnormal range. And if they're in the abnormal range, we absolutely need to see exactly what's causing that. And so out of that exam, out of the palpation, motion palpation, figuring out exactly what's going on, any orthopedic testing, we determine how many x-rays you need. And if you need x-rays, we will take those in our office. We use digital x-rays so we can reduce any radiation coming from those and see exactly where your spine is at, exactly what's causing the problem, and exactly what it's going to take to reverse that. And so what I'm doing this morning, for those of you that are listening, to help you make the right choice for your health, if you've never had your spine checked before by someone that's properly evaluated to measure your curve and then correct your curve, to be able to tell you exactly what you need to do to get that corrected, then call my office right now. We're at 402-413-8825. We will assess your spine. We will look for the cause of any health problems, whether it's cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, any of these things. Those are signs and symptoms of tension and pressure and damage to your nervous system. That's what we're looking at. We're looking for the health of your nervous system first, and then we're looking to reverse any of the causes of those problems. Call us right now, 402-413-8825. The first 5 callers this morning will get a 50% discount off of the exam and off of the x-rays. Normally, that would be $130 for the exam and the x-rays. Today, if you call the exam itself, will just be $25, and then we'll see exactly how many x-rays you need. You'll get each of those at a 50% discount as well. And so right now, because we are actively physically in the seminar, I will need you to leave a message. We will get back with you today. So stay by your phone, keep it with you while you're watching the game, or whatever party you're at, and be ready to step out and take that phone call so that we can set up that appointment for you for this week. Because every second that we go with decreased function leads to more seconds, minutes, days of our lives that are taken away due to sickness and disease. So again, the first 5 callers, 50% discount, 402-413-8825. This is Dr. Jake Tucker. Stick around right after this. Welcome back. Before the break, we talked a little bit about Dr. Major's story, how he, in spite of doing all the right things, was diagnosed with multiple myeloma and was able to beat it. He got to the cause. He figured out what was going on. And some of the things that he thought he was doing right, he thought he had a good mindset about it. He thought he was getting adjusted so his nervous system was healthy. He thought he was eating the right foods. He thought he was exercising the right way. He thought he was doing the proper detoxification protocols. But the key thing that allowed him to beat his cancer was figuring out exactly what cancer is. And once he realized that cancer is a preventable disease that requires major lifestyle changes, and he dug in and he figured out exactly what those are, he was able to reverse it. And he was able to be cancer-free for over 5 years. And this is just incredible because he started with he started with his mindset first. Understanding what cancer is the key to beating it. But it's not just understanding it. It's also your mindset about whether or not you think you have power over this thing. Because whether you think you can beat it or whether you think you can't, you're right. This was something that Henry Ford said when he was getting started. He said, whatever you think, if you think you can or you can't, you're right. You're absolutely right. And so if you think you can't beat cancer, if you think cancer is not lifestyle preventable, lifestyle reversible, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter what the research says. It doesn't matter that the research tells us that less than 10% of all cancers are due to your genetics. If you think you can't beat it, you're absolutely right. And so one of the things that he really did is he trained his mind to really speak positivity, to speak this optimism into his life, that no matter how hard the situation, no matter what it was that he wanted to do, whether it was eating pizza or drinking beer or going out and not doing his detox for a day or whatever, he said to himself, it is more important for me to be here for my wife and my kids and my family. It is more important for me to be here for my patients, for all the people out there that don't think that cancer is preventable, is reversible. It's more important for me to be here for them than it is for me to have this slice of pizza. It's more important for me to fulfill my purpose in this life than for me to drink this beer or to go out and have this sugary beverage with my friends and sit down and just have some communion. It's this mindset that he had, and it was one of the things that he didn't have. You see, before, he gave himself a lot of grace with nutrition. He said, oh, it's not a big deal. Most people eat this stuff and most people don't get cancer. He didn't understand it. He didn't understand that the way that we live our lives in the United States, it drives cancer forward. When you eat a high sugar, high grain, low fat, low and healthy fat diet, it creates this inflammation in our body that creates a cancer response. And he got it. He did. And so he wasn't disciplined like he thought he was. He wasn't disciplined enough in order to create health in his body. And so this cancer came on, and it was really a problem for him. It created all of these issues in his life and things that he had to deal with. And so then when he got the cancer diagnosis, that was his wake-up call. But it also gave him his greatest purpose in life. It gave him the thing that he needed to do in order to create this next step. It's kind of like the story of Moses. And if you've been to Sunday school, you heard about how Moses, he led God's people out of Egypt into the wilderness and delivered them to the doorsteps of the promised land. But most people don't realize that he struggled. He suffered. He lived 80 years of his life in the deserts as a shepherd. 40 years in Egypt as a prince, got kicked out after murdering a taskmaster, trying to defend a Hebrew, and then went and lived as a shepherd in the deserts of Midian for 40 years, had a wife, had kids, had a family, and then God brought him to this moment where he made the decision to actually do something with his life. And a lot of you are sitting there not knowing whether or not you'll ever get cancer, but knowing that there are people in your life that have suffered from it and that's not ever anything that you want to do. This could be that moment. And whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. And so make a decision right now what type of person you are. Are you the type of person that is going to take action? Or are you the type of person that is going to sit back and let life happen to you? Because no matter what, you're right. You're right. You can do whatever it is that you set your mind to, and then you can also not do whatever it is that you think has already beaten you. And so I encourage you today to start by taking action. And so I want to invite those of you that are listening to this call and have been listening for a while to join me for our health transformation dinner on Monday, October 1st at 6:30 p.m. at the venue. I'm buying food for everyone, but the main thing there is I want to deliver you a message of hope, of wholeness, and of health to allow you to take back your life so that you can live the way that God designed you. And whether you're dealing with chronic migraines and fibromyalgia, whether you've gotten a cancer diagnosis or someone in your family has gotten a cancer diagnosis and you just don't understand it and you want to know more and you want to plug that in to your life, I encourage you to call right now, 402-413-8825. We have room for 40, but our waiting list is already 20 long. And so I'm gonna hold 5 seats for you guys if you're calling in from the radio show. 402-413-8825. The first 5 callers or the first 5 seats taken or reserved are the ones that are available for you right now. You're welcome. If you miss out on those 5 seats to get on our wait list, we will get you to a dinner. It is absolutely imperative to me and to what God has called me to that you show up and that you start to make the transformations in your life so that you can fulfill the purpose that God has for you. Whether you're a Dr. Charles Majors and you write this book called The Cancer Killers, How to Be a Cancer Killer, the cause is the cure. Like, we need to know what this is. And so call right now, 402-413-8825.